pointed out in our Evidence for God devotional number 180 on the impossible odds of the Big Bang, that without God, the odds of such a Big Bang happening are virtually zero. But these brainwashed, deceived Big Bangers will look at you and even laugh. Why? They say, the odds are 100% because it already happened. And those are the games that the willingly ignorant and deceived will play. It's as silly as arguing with a child who believes in Santa Claus. You see, there is a Santa Claus if you are referring to the historical figure known as Saint Nicholas, who lived in the region of Pamphylia during the 4th century at the time of the Roman Empire. He was alive at the time of the Council of Nicaea and is said to have lived from 270 to 343 or 280 to 353 AD, according to what source you believe. And there is some evidence that this St. Nicholas left money for the poor and orphans at Christmas time. There is historical evidence that people visited his tomb after his death out of respect and honoring him, so it would seem to pretty well confirm his life. Similarly, we know the universe had a beginning. We've explained elsewhere the common sense, basic science of the second law of thermodynamics, or the law of entropy, which requires a beginning to energy. Since it's running down and will eventually run out, it had to have a beginning. So how are those two things similar, the universe and Santa Claus? Well, just as the fact that there was a St. Nicholas doesn't mean he had a sleigh with flying reindeer coming out of a compound at the North Pole from which he visited the children of the entire planet with gifts. There also was a beginning to the universe, but that doesn't mean it started from nothing in a vacuum located nowhere with random fluctuations caused by nothing in particular, which then caused the Big Bang. And the similarities don't end there. When a kid really wants to believe in Santa Claus, they'll put up strong arguments, at least emotionally strong arguments, even though those arguments lack any credibility. For example, you tell the kid who believes in the mythological version of Santa that it's impossible. He will ask, well, where do you think all those gifts come from? And you answer, your parents. Besides, how do you think Santa gets into your house when all the doors and windows are locked and you don't even have a chimney? And the kid says, well, he puts one finger next to his nose and winks, and bam, he appears inside. And when he's done, he does the same thing, and bam, he appears in his sleigh to go to the next house. And when a kid talks like that, I can't help but laugh, and most of us would. It can be sort of cute. But it's not cute when the mass of mainstream astronomical scientists and theoretical physicists talk in those same kind of terms. And I'm here to tell you that they do. And we'll continue to discuss and expose this incredible mind control cult of scientism posing as science as the Lord allows us to make these Evidence for God devotionals. We've had a number of people contact us and thank us for the thought-provoking content of these 5-minute devotionals, which we now have more than 15 hours of content on the Evidence for God. And one person in particular commented that they had never really grasped how accurate Paul's warning was about the vain and profane babblings of science falsely so called in 1 Timothy 6:20. But I would like to also point out that Paul used that same phrase, profane and vain babblings, with the commandment, the only commandment in the Bible, to study God's Word. And the new versions have removed the word study from that verse, by the way. It's not enough to just refute science falsely so called, but we must also be committed students of God's Word, as we're commanded in 2 Timothy 2:15 and 16. It says, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. But shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more ungodliness. Be students of the book and also discerning the lies of science falsely so called.